The following August of 1814, British elite troops were approaching Washington. August 23rd. I rode to the town of Bladensburg, which the British would have to go through to reach the capital. And I wrote back to Dolley that our troops are in high spirits, and our intelligence is that the enemy is not very strong and not in a condition to strike the capital.
I placed all the cabinet papers into trunks, but realized that if attacked, our personal belongings would be sacrificed. There were not carriages or carts to carry them. The president came home that evening and slept in the mansion for what would be the last time.
August 24th. I rode again to Bladensburg, and I almost rode into the British forces themselves.
Noon. I saw soldiers wandering about, as if they lacked spirit to fight for their own homes. The detachment of troops who were to defend the mansion deserted their posts. I was determined to stay and see the president was safe. The people of this city disgusted me with threats that they would prevent the president from fleeing for safety and would see him fall with the mansion.
Early afternoon. The Battle of Bladensburg began. Our forces outnumbered the British, inflicted more casualties, but soon our troops were routed. They broke ranks and they fled.
3 p.m. Mr. Madison had not returned. 3 times the mayor of Washington begged me to leave, but no, to leave would have signaled defeat. Then I received a personal note from Jemmy, telling me to flee immediately. The British were approaching. I lived a lifetime in those last moments, waiting for Madison's return, and in an agony of fear lest he might have been taken prisoner. I gathered important state documents, silverware and other belongings, piled them into my carriage. I made sure the Gilbert Stuart portrait of George Washington was taken down and placed in safe hands. Then I made my escape.
Still on horseback, I rode first to the mansion, then to Georgetown, and then to various other locations along the Potomac River. The British, they entered Washington. They set fire to public buildings, ate the dinner that Dolley had prepared for us, and then set fire to the mansion itself. If it had not been for one of the worst hurricanes the area had experienced occurring the next day, the mansion would have burned to the ground. As it was, its interior was destroyed, while the exterior walls were badly charged before the deluge put out the fires.
I spent the night traveling and sought refuge at the house of a former acquaintance, only to be told by that screaming woman, "Miss Madison, if that's you, get out! Your husband has got mine out fighting, and you shall not stay in my house, so you get out!" I moved on, stopping at the home of Charles Carroll. Word came that we could meet the president in Georgetown. Although our reunion was brief, at least I knew that Jemmy was safe. Since he had further duties, we made arrangements to meet again, but for the next 2 days were unable to do so because we constantly missed meeting with each other. On August 27th, we were reunited in Washington.
Oh, but it was a sad sight. And discouraged by the defeat of our troops and the insult of having the Capitol burned, our Congress was ready to move the capital back to either Philadelphia or New York, but they found fierce opposition from my wife.
Jemmy, we shall rebuild Washington City. The enemy cannot frighten a free people.
After 3 votes, Congress decided to remain in Washington. Also, Dolley's insistence in rebuilding led architect James Hoban to cover the charred exterior walls of the mansion with white paint, thus establishing the White House. But suddenly, the tides of war changed. September the 11th in upstate New York, Plattsburgh, British naval and ground forces were defeated. September the 14th, the defenders at Fort McHenry in Baltimore repelled the British forces and inspired Francis Scott Key to write the Star-Spangled Banner. On December the 24th, 1814, the Treaty of Ghent was agreed to and ratified by the Senate in early 1815. The war had ended.